Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports, our first official Football Friday of the year. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Friday morning, brother, as we recap day 1 and 2 of training camp, but the first week, kind of, for lack of a better word, is behind us now, and we roll along. How you doing this morning, J-Mac?
Doing well. A little bit of a breather. Thanks. Always this time of year, I tend to forget what day it is, so I have to be reminded. That's a good thing.
Well, Football Friday today, John, they are not off today. There's a walkthrough today, so I'll get your take on what exactly that means. So walkthrough today, and then the Eagles are back out in the practice field tomorrow. Johnny Mac will be back down there again. Sunday is a player's day off, no schedule of media availability. And then next week, just to give everybody a preview of next week, they are practicing Monday, Tuesday, walkthrough Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday. So you know what that means for Birds 365. 4 of 5 shows next week will be an evening show, with Wednesday being the only regular 8 to 10 a.m. slot. So they got a busy schedule coming up, Johnny Mac, which means you're going to be a busy man down at the NovaCare complex.
Yeah, and they're still, that's one of those things where I think this is where the Eagles do most of their work, to be honest, closed walkthrough today. So they're working. It's just not open in front of the media.
Well, I wanted to ask you, what exactly does that mean? Like, what do you think they do behind the doors? Is that when they install things? Is that, because they know there's no media there? Like, what exactly does that mean, the walkthrough?
Yeah, a lot of teaching, and a lot of, back in the old days, because I'm old, when there were tour days, you would not always, but a lot of times you would have a morning practice and then an afternoon walkthrough, or vice versa. And we would get to watch, walkthroughs, and they're very, very boring, but you can see things. You can see, all right, Stoutland's working with so-and-so on so-and-so. And Clint Hurd is trying to get somebody up to speed, or you can see what Christian Parker is trying to, and Roy Anderson is trying to do with Adore Jackson and Kaylee Ringo, or things like that. You can gather a lot of information. And it's just another thing that's gone away over the years that we don't have access to. And it's disappointing. I think from the standpoint of the NFL, it would help them greatly, actually. But, from the Eagles standpoint, I get it, because the Eagles are overwhelmed, for a very long time. The entire time I've been here, I don't know when it started, but the entire time I've been here, they have the largest media contingent in the NFL. So bigger than New York, bigger than Chicago, bigger than the big cities, because of the passion for football in this city. And they're kind of overwhelmed. So if they don't have to do something, they're not going to do it. And I get it, but I do think it would help educate reporters, which would in turn educate fans, which in turn would be better for the Eagles. But, that's that's a battle I'm not going to win.
Do you think they want educated fans, or do they not really care?
Well, I think they get pissed when unfair things are labeled. So, I mean, how do you get fairness by educating people? Now, it's hard. But so it depends how you look at it. No, I don't think they care that much until, a false narrative is out there. Then I think they care. But it's tough to, and there's, well, I don't want to get into that wormhole, but some people are down there as, there's Jalen Hurts. And I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about, people
who are not supposed to be fanboying and supposed to be fucking working.
People are supposed to be working. Yeah. So, I mean, and then you get into, well, this guy can come, but this guy can't come. And that's difficult as well. So then you piss off a bunch of people. So I get it from the Eagles standpoint. But it's disappointing from a league wide when I used to be able to watch those things. And don't get me wrong. There were plenty of complaints like, I got to go to a walkthrough, but that's where you would gain, in a lot of ways, that's where you would gain the most information.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, it's just another thing that's gone away over the years.
Well, the walkthrough is today, and the first 48 hours are done, or at least the first 48 in terms of 2 straight days of 2 straight days at the NovaCare for Johnny Mac. 2 practices in the books. John, what's your overall takeaways? Just thoughts on the mind. We'll dive into obviously everything deeper today. We had a great recap show last night on day 2, so we'll kind of look at things from a somewhat of a broader perspective. You can't get too broad. It's only been 2 days, but after 2 days, John, what's your takeaway so far on the 2025 Eagles on this iteration of the Birds, Johnny Mac?
I'll default to Nick Sirianni when he got asked the question about how much different camp is going to be here. Camp is going to be coming off the Super Bowl, and he said, "Camp is camp. Doesn't change from year to year, no matter if you're good, bad, indifferent." So that part of it is just, it's similar. It's business as usual. Installing. Eagles Vic kind of explained that yesterday. He was installing stuff back in the spring and just picked up. Some people do it a little bit differently. 7 or 8 practices when Nick got here was when that's how much they took to install the full breadth of their operation. So you're doing a lot of installing, and then things pick up. Obviously, pads coming on is going to be a big day. That won't happen can't happen for another few days, and we'll see how quickly the Eagles put them on. But because of the collectively bargained ramp up period, but camp is camp, and it's been business as usual from that standpoint.
Yep, that's good. Good news there. Johnny Mac, let's go through the health check real quick just to start the show here. I'm sure most people know, but for the benefit of anybody who doesn't know or isn't aware, the team is relatively healthy, John. I mean, Jahad Campbell is back in action a lot quicker than we expected. I know he's a limited participant, but I think this is well earlier than we anticipated. And now I wonder, is this guy going to be ready for week 1? I could see it. But outside of that, you had Jalen Carter and Kenyon Green miss the first 2 practices. I don't think there's any concern with Jalen Carter. I don't know what it is. Maybe you have something you can shed on that, but I don't think it's a big deal. And then Nakobe Dean on the PUP list. Cam Jurgens was limited as well. But overall, the team is coming to camp in good shape, Johnny Mac. You look around the league, there has already been some injuries. I mean, I forget the name of the player in Detroit that got injured already. Another guy on their defensive line.
Yeah, defensive tackle.
Are they going to have another year like they had last? You know what I mean? That team had so many injuries last year.
Yeah, good player too. Levi, Big O. We got a Big O. They got a Big O. And why? I mean, the Eagles, of course, not we, but yeah. I mean, injuries are always part of it, and it's always good when you can get through camp with as few injuries as possible. Coming in, I mean, they expected Cam Jurgens take a little bit of time to ramp up, but he's been out there working in first team, but they have a rep count on him coming off season back surgery. They have a rep count on Jahad Campbell. We talked about that a lot as far as him beating expectations for being on the practice field. August came early. Vic joked about it. The training staff liking to understate so they can overachieve, which was kind of funny. So all positive on Jahad Campbell coming off the labrum surgery. And then Jalen Carter's dealing with a little bit of a shoulder issue, but they're just being extra cautious. I mean, he was out there, after the set of reps the first team defense takes, they generally try to run down to their end zone before they head back to the sideline, just a little conditioning trick. And Jalen Carter was participating in that on yesterday. So he's not hurt by any stretch. I wouldn't worry about. It's nothing serious. They're just going to always be very cautious with their best players. And Kenyon Green dealing with a bit of a knee injury, and that's, he's on the bubble, so that's probably important for him to try to make this team. But the more time he misses, the older you can't make the club in the tub thought process. But a lot of people made the Mekhi Becton connection because they were both first round picks and they both underachieved in their original cities, and maybe the reclamation project could hit again. But there's been no evidence that even if he was healthy, that Kenyon Green would be pushing Tyler Steen at right guard. In fact, he didn't even take reps at right guard.
If Matt Pryor's not pushing him, I don't think Kenyon Green would be pushing him.
No. So I think a lot of people just connected it with Becton because they were both high-level draft picks and said, well, he got Becton up to speed. Why can't he do it with Kenyon Green? Speaking of Jeff Stoutland, maybe he can long-term, but he's not. When he does come back, he's probably going to be at left guard. That's where he was in the spring. So, and that's probably the biggest injury. But he's been out there watching as well, so it doesn't seem serious. But for him, to make this team, he's going to have to get out there pretty quickly.
Yep, we'll see how it all shakes out there. Good takeaways, John, from that overall. Good, healthy team. They got the walkthrough today, so we'll see what we learn. They're back out in the field tomorrow, John. So who is set to speak? Yesterday was Vic Fangio Day, which is always a fun one. It's always tough to follow up Vic. Do we get the new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, tomorrow morning?
Kevin's turn tomorrow morning. Kevin Patullo, I think, Eagles fans who were paying attention during the spring already got to see him talk then, but I think they'll be impressed by him. If I had to rate the Eagles offensive coordinators just from a communication standpoint, I would rate him number one. So I think they'll be a little bit happier with some of the answers. They're obviously going to be. There's very few big Fangios. He's not going to be big and just be blunt. But he's a lot better communicatively on the record. Like Shane Steichen was phenomenal off the record, but that, nobody gets to see it. On the record, I mean, even if you go back to Frank Reich isn't great on the record. I mean, on the podium.
Right.
Very close to the best. May have changed as a head coach. I wasn't paying that much attention, but Mike Rowe was okay. But people didn't like him, so they kind of forget about him. Press Taylor wasn't a de facto offensive coordinator for a while. Then you had sort of a split role. Very young. Shane was very close to the best. Brian was okay. Kellen is very close to the best. So I think people are going to be happy with Kevin Patullo as I run through the offensive coordinators in my head. He's by far the most open. Obviously that doesn't matter if you don't perform and you underachieve with this talent. It's not going to help them, but I think people are going to enjoy his style a little bit more.
Yeah, that should be good. I'm excited to hear Kevin Patullo tomorrow. We'll do a little football 24/7 to recap the day tomorrow. John, we came into camp. Just one thing I want to touch on because we really talked about it a lot as we led up to training camp was the edge rusher room. Have your thoughts evolved, changed, improved, gotten worse at all in that room? Where are you on the edge rushers after just seeing them take the field? I know they're not in pads. I understand we can't learn that much yet. But what have you seen from the edge rushing room? I know Ojulari got some reps in there. They did add a guy this week. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Ogbonia.
I gotta.
I don't know how to pronounce. I'm pretty good normally with names. That's a tough one. But any early flashes in that room or anything you've seen that has altered, whether good or bad, your perception of it coming into camp or coming into
my perception is I'm going to try it for the first time. Ogbo Okoronkwo. That's the best I can do
That's not bad.
until I actually meet Ogbo. I'm calling him Big O for now.
Yeah, I like that.
Oscar Robertson. I'm sorry, rest in peace, but maybe medium sized though, because he's not the biggest guy, similar to all the Eagles edge rushers, 6'2", 250. But veteran player has been a very effective rotational player at times in Houston, Cleveland, and with the Rams earlier in his career. So I think he'll be relevant. He's already gotten some second team reps mixed in a little bit. So yeah, I think I add him to the mix. Obviously, back end, not front end of the room. But I think he's got a chance because he got here early enough to maybe compete for one of the jobs. But hasn't changed much other than the hype around Jalix Hunt, which I joked about it yesterday. If there was a yearbook for training camp, he'd be most popular, Jalix Hunt. Jordan Mailata, bringing up Micah Parsons, Nolan Smith, bringing up sliced bread. So he's been the most popular. And certainly the Eagles want him to win the job. He's played right end, so essentially the replacement for Josh Sweat. And I think he's got a big upside, but Vic threw the cold water on there yesterday, probably purposefully, not probably, definitely, calling those kind of comparisons reckless, right, which is, pretty significant word.
I did get a kick out of John that I heard you in the press conference on the live cast, because I knew that you were going to love that comment from Vic Fangio.
Well,
and then like I hear John like laughing on the thing, and I'm like, that is so ironic, because I knew John would have loved that comment.
Well, the whole thing. So Jordan was talking the day before, and Jordan Mailata. And I was back in what they call the mix zone talking to somebody else. So by the time I got back to Jordan Mailata, the media tent down there was just packed. It was packed. I mean, there's 4 rows of seats. So I had to stand up in the back. And Jordan made that comment, and he happened to be looking in my direction. And I chuckled. It was just my natural reaction. I was like, whoa. And he saw it and smiled. He saw me chuckle. So then with Vic, I was in the front row. I was right in front of Vic. And so we were going back and forth. I was talking to him before the press conference about he had a Phillies hat on with Eagles colors. He's a big Phillies fan. So I was buttering him up with some Phillies talk. So we had been going back and forth before it started a little bit. And then when he heard those comments, I have to put up exactly. They didn't capture the whole thing on the transcript, but basically he said, let me see. I'm trying to pull it up. So he was asked about, and again, it was phrased wrong. The Jordan part was right. Jordan Mailata was really complimentary of Jalix Hunt. And then he was also asked about AJ being complimentary of Drew Makuba. What AJ was talking about Cooper DeJean. So that part of it was wrong. But so Vic didn't know what AJ said. So he just said, yeah, both of them overdid it. Come on, and laughed. And he said, he said, did you guys laugh? And I said, well, I chuckled, with the Micah stuff. And he said it should have been a belly laugh, because it's kind of an outrageous comp. But again, to be fair to Jordan Mailata, he wasn't comping the players. He was comping the burst and a little bit of the traits. So I think that's fair to say as well. And then AJ again was afterwards, I don't know how long they go with that, but as he was walking off the podium, we're explaining to him that AJ was really talking about Cooper DeJean, and he wasn't as nearly as upset about that. But even that, it's like, you got to temper on the all-pro stuff a little bit, and he called it reckless, but I don't think it's reckless. That's kind of a strong word, but there's nothing wrong in pumping up your teammates. But for fans who think Jalen Hunt is going to be Micah Parsons on day one, it's like, that's kind of reckless, and that hurts Jalen more than it helps him to have those types of expectations, which is what sort of Vic is saying.
Yep, no doubt about it. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, we're going to get to Mike Gill. Before we do that, there's one thing, John, I got to correct you on this opening segment. I think you'll be happy I corrected you. Oscar Robertson, John, is still alive.
Oh, is he? Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a bad job by me. Yeah. Wow, is he?
Yeah, 86 years old is Oscar Robertson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, big boy. Yeah, I apologize for that.
I'm good. I'm like, wait a second.
Thank you.
And then I saw Joe Whip in the chat. He's still with us, J Mac. I'm like, let me double check that to make sure.
I'm glad. Hey, correct me at any time. I don't like getting shit like that wrong. I don't know why I thought he passed away, but I did. So I appreciate it.
That's all right, John. You got a lot of shit going on in that big brain of yours after this week. So let's get to it. Let's get to Mike Gill here joining us right now on Birds 365. For those of you who are daily watchers, normally we get Mike Gill on Wednesdays with the all messed up schedule. We got Mike on here on a football Friday, who's kind enough to join us, take some time out for us. Here he is right now joining us on the show. You can follow him at Mike Gill Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Mike Gill Show. Listen to him on 97.5 and 97.3 ESPN, 97.5 in Philly, 97.3 ESPN down the shore. Mike, how you doing on this football Friday, brother?
Doing good, guys. I know crazy time with the schedules. Birds are back and ready to go, ready for the season. As everybody else, I'm moved on. Last season was in the books. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody's on board with that. Landon Dickerson was the latest to really kind of shut down the repeat talk. But I want to start with Vic because, you cover all Philadelphia sports on your shows, 97.3, the Sports Bash, ESPN, South Jersey, down the shore, and then up here, 97.5, the Fanatic. So you have to cover the Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, etc., even some Union occasionally. Is there a better thing in Philadelphia sports than Vic Fangio?
As we, we air a lot of the press conferences, and sometimes you're getting you're getting the runaround, the coach speak, but Vic Fangio generally is appointment listening because you are getting raw, unfiltered stuff from him generally every single time he speaks. So at this time, he is a treasure. I joked yesterday because he came out there with the blueberry smoothie, and I said I could see him walking down the street in Hamilton with his blueberry smoothie and just kind of like sitting on a park bench telling people stories like anything you want to hear, anything you want to know. And it doesn't seem like he likes talking. He just like begrudgingly is out there. And he's like, if I'm going to be out here, I'm going to give you something.
Yeah.
He just tells the truth. I think that's so much easier to do than try to spin people. And I don't know why more people don't do it because he certainly gets the benefit of the doubt. We all love the guy.
People who are like that, they can't lie. They don't know how to lie. They don't know how to not tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Well, like for instance, he said he didn't think Jahad Campbell would be ready until sometime in August. What's the difference if he says that and then he happens to get out there early? Hey, he got out there earlier than I thought. And then he said, look, sometimes the medical staff likes to overpromise, underdeliver, and then here they are. So
that was a great line, by the way. Great line.
I think the fact that Campbell's out there is a big story. I mean, it was one of my top 5 stories when I listed mine last week, and it's when will Campbell be ready to show what he can do, and once he's out there, what's his role? Well, now you get it from day one. He's there, which really should now, unless he can't put the pads on, that'll be different when we find out when they put the pads on. Will he be on the field? These first 2 days have been no pads, so maybe he can run around and do that stuff. Maybe he can't hit yet.
Yeah, he's on rep count. We're going to see I always say, there's so many rules with the NFL. You have to write them down to keep them in order. One is the ramp up period for camp, which has changed over the years. So days 1 through 3 are no contact. Days 4 and 5 are spiders and shells, which is helmets and light practice gear. Day 6 has to be a mandatory day off. Day 7 onwards, you can put on the pads. Now, you don't have to put on the pads that day, but you can. So you're also limited with the number of padded practices you have. So you use them judiciously. But you're right. For all the, I'd like to call physical positions, Mike, really doesn't matter until you get the pads on.
Right. No, you can't figure out whether, the offensive line and defensive line can, run block, road grade. You're not getting this physical, stuff up front in those situations. I mean, the skill guys, obviously, you get a little bit better opportunity to do some stuff. But even without the pads, there are guys who can move more freely and fluidly in shorts and shirts. You put those pads on those same wide receivers who can run like the wind, and now maybe that stuff's, they're not as fluid and stuff. So yeah, these first couple of days is more terminology, getting all that stuff kind of down so that when you put the pads on, you're ready to kind of
and that's when players who are, and I've always brought up Lane and AJ, but also, and even though AJ's a wide receiver, like he really shows up when he can get physical with people. Lane really shows up when he can get physical with people. And now you can add Saquon to that list as well, as guys who just, but to your point, there's a lot of athletes that look great in shorts. And then the minute those pads come on and they got to add the physicality to it, things slow down a lot.
Well, and like a guy like Campbell, for instance, who might be, used in pass rushing situations. What's the difference between him pass rushing with nothing on and running into Lane Johnson and then bang, getting, stood right up by Lane Johnson? How does that change his mentality of, whoa, I wasn't expecting a old man strength like that,
Yeah, that's a good way to describe
Lane
it.
Johnson is officially in the old man strength category.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
And Landon Dickerson, because, Landon was speaking yesterday, so it was about 5 feet away from him. My God, that guy's a monster. I mean, I just don't think people realize how big and physical that Eagles offensive line is.
Yeah. Well, Landon Dickerson gets the raw deal because he stands next to Mailata.
It's true. It's true.
Which is great. Landon's 6'6". I think a lot of people don't realize because of Jordan. Like he's tall.
Yeah, he's big dude.
Yeah, and next to Jordan, he looks like a little guy. I mean, so he's standing next to
it's funny. I the first day I got a picture of Ty Robinson because he was showing off his guns. Suns out, guns out. Ty Robinson is really, impressive physically. And he's got more of a bodybuilder look than I would say than a typical NFL defensive lineman. But somebody asked me, who's bigger, Ty Robinson or Jordan Mailata? It ain't close. Jordan Mailata is just a different type of dude, 6'8", 380.
Massive human being.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes it gets lost how big and strong those guys are.
So,
and Lane's point, Lane was talking about that, Mike. He said how much stronger he's gotten when he was younger,
no doubt. So let me ask you, a couple days in so far, who are your candidates for Mr. Lehigh? Which I know they're not at Lehigh anymore, but.
Well, I joked if there was a yearbook, Alex Hunt would win most popular. So he's the early leader after 2 days. I mean, you got Jordan Mailata comparing him to Micah Parsons and Nolan Smith saying he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Normally you get some.
You don't get those kind of comps, though.
No, but sometimes you get some like the 7th or 8th wide receiver that everybody.
No,
falls
yeah,
in love
yeah.
with.
You know what it is? It's usually I say this all the time. It's usually the big, tall guys who make contested catches. Because I predict the top 5 sort of Mr. Novacare. I don't like Novacare. You can't get a catchy thing to it, but
Yeah.
it's always the tall receivers. And they only have one this year that kind of fits the bill. Johnny Wilson's already been here. Johnny's incredibly tall, but new guy is Elijah Cooks, who nobody knows and hasn't done anything. So you have to do something. So they don't really have that guy. So
No
my
Paul
easiest,
no Paul Turner.
not yet. We'll see. I mean, Danny Gray's impressive from his.
I figured Danny Gray will be the one that everybody's going to start talking about.
Yeah, he can run, and the problem with Danny, too many drops. Terrace Marshall, Terrace Marshall's been, I guess, for somebody that people don't know, he's probably been the most impressive, but they should know him. He was a 2nd round pick. He was a star at
Gray
LSU.
was a 3rd round pick too, which a lot of people feel like he might be that guy that surprises a little bit here. But you know, you got Dotson, you got Marshall, you've got Gray. So that slot corner, I mean, that slot wide receiver is probably Dotson by a long shot at this point. Now that he's in the offense and knows what he's doing.
He's not.
I think Terrace Marshall's making this football team. I mean, I was looking at Terrace Marshall's career last night, John, after our night show. This guy was really a stud at LSU. Now I'll leave that out because it's college. He was a
stud at LSU, but keep in mind who he played with at LSU.
Yeah.
Well, he also played behind Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I mean, but then he goes to Carolina, right? I mean, Carolina's Carolina, and they were in quarterback purgatory. They still kind of are. Who knows what Bryce Young's going to be? Then he gets traded or wherever however he ended up. He ended up with the Raiders. I mean, they didn't have a world beater there. This is his first time since he came into the NFL with a competent quarterback and offense, really. Like, I think this kid's got real potential that he hasn't quite lived up to yet, but he certainly could get there this year.
The problem would be for him is where does he fit in? I mean, obviously Brown and Smith, you're not playing there. And Dotson, also a talented guy, similar to what you're saying, but good background. He's going to get whatever snaps are left over for the 3rd spot. Marshall's role would be, sadly, if somebody got hurt, you would probably need him to be that guy. I don't think he has much of a role unless somebody had a missed time.
Well, for the first time in a couple years, though, and John, me and you have talked about this for the last, and Mike, you as well, and even before I was on the show with Jody Mack, we had nobody at depth in terms, like you used to say, John, boy, the receiver room is good, but if A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith goes down, they're effed. You know, like there's now I feel like Marshall is actually a legitimate outside wide receiver if something did happen. I mean, I don't know. What is he, 6'2", 200 pounds?
Yeah, he's over 6'2", 6'2.5", 205. So he's a big dude. And they've been looking, you know, I bring up all the time. People forget they signed Devontae Parker because they wanted a backup for AJ and Devontae outside the numbers, but Devontae ended up retiring. So he could be that guy. The problem is when you're building rosters, and I brought this up numerous times, if you're going to be a 4th or a 5th receiver, you got to play special teams. He doesn't play special teams. I looked into it. I asked Mike Kay, our old buddy, because he's down in Carolina. I said, does this guy play special teams? Not at all when he was down there. He didn't play special teams at LSU. I checked with somebody down there. He was a star. He didn't play special teams. He does not play special teams. So how do you justify keeping him on the roster when they want Johnny Wilson on this roster? I don't know why, but they want him on here. I do know why, but for the blocking aspect of it, but I think they overrate that, but that's just my personal opinion. He's going to be here. And then you have Anaya Smith, who is a guy that I thought it was very interesting when they went to special teams drills, which a lot of people don't pay attention to. Avery Williams, who's the guy they signed to be a returner, did not even take a rep as a punt returner. And he was there as the, first team kick returner. So it looks like they're going to keep those roles separate again. And if you're keeping Avery Williams and keeping Anaya Smith to return punts, there's no room. There's no room for Terrace Marshall on this roster. Now, the good part to that is he is now vested, so he doesn't have to go through waivers if he plays well in the preseason. And the Eagles can do hey, Terrace, we want you back. Sign him to the practice squad. And then if there's an injury, they can elevate him later. That's how I think Terrace Marshall sticks around.
Yeah, like the who they signed last year from Paris Campbell.
Yeah, Paris Campbell, Nick Gates, they did it with an offensive lineman. They kind of, bested guys that you do the wink stuff with. So that's how I think he could potentially stay around. But he might be too good. He might get an opportunity elsewhere. Especially if he plays well in the preseason. And if the spring and the first couple of days of camp are any indication, he's going to play well. So he's clearly the fourth best receiver on this team. But you're not just keeping the best 5 receivers because they need to do other things if they're backups. That's the difficulty if you're Howie Roseman.
No doubt.
And
it's a science, really. But
the
anyway.
back of it is a little tougher. But I don't know. Maybe they float out Jahan Dotson on a trade if Terrace Marshall or Danny Gray or one of these guys look good enough. I don't think they would do that. I'm just wondering if it does give them leeway because they look at it like you, John, where they need the back guys to be special teams, other things, but they have guys who are. I mean, if it's a marginal difference between Dotson and Marshall or Gray or one of the others, and you can get a draft pick, would they entertain it maybe or no?
Well, I brought up that with Dotson for a while because, Dotson's not going to be here. So if somebody breaks out.
Right. So I mean, he's got 1 year left.
Yeah. If somebody breaks out and we can get something for him, I brought that up myself a couple of times.
Yeah. That's where I got it from.
But from the standpoint of Marshall's not a slot receiver. I mean, he's not playing in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to put Devontae in the slot, which he can do, and he can do effectively. But do you really want to do that with Devontae Smith? Because he can do so much outside. It could do so much with his versatility. Play inside, can play outside. But if you have Marshall and Brown, I mean, they're playing outside, and you have to have Devontae in the slot. I don't think the Eagles want to do that. So I don't think the fit is there for that. But we'll see. I mean, he's a good player. He's a good player.
So I think what you said before is, hey, wink, wink, we'll put you on the practice squad. And in the event that someone gets hurt, you're an outside receiver. That's the problem they've had. If Brown doesn't play, they really haven't had, or Smith doesn't play, they haven't had that guy who's an outside receiver with any physicality or size. You're throwing guys out there, and now the next thing you know is, if you have to have a week or two where Brown didn't play, I think a couple games he missed last year, the Tampa game certainly comes to mind. And you have Devontae's the only guy on the outside there. That's where Marshall could probably step in and then have a role.
Well, Devontae didn't play in the 10. So they didn't have AJ, Devontae, or Lane Johnson in that 10. That's why they got waxed so badly. Yeah. That's why they got – and that's why –
the playoff game from 2 years ago, AJ Brown didn't play.
Yes. Yes. And that was ugly. Yes. And it tends to be ugly when AJ doesn't play. So that's one of those things.
It is, incumbent to say, hey, listen, if one of these guys gets hurt, misses, 2 to 4 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks because of a hamstring or something, we've got to be able to get someone that profiles as an outside wide receiver as opposed to, having Jahan Dotson go play outside. And then they used to do that all the time with Nelson Aguilar, where he excelled in the slot. Someone would get hurt. They put him back to the outside. Couldn't track a ball, so did not profile very well as an outside guy, but he really did his job between the hash marks.
And by the way, I should say Jahan Dotson can play outside. He's probably more comfortable outside than in the slot. So I think Jahan's a good player. So I don't think he's pushing Jahan Dotson. But I do think he's the 4th best receiver on the team. And this is the deepest wide receiver group they've had in the Nick Sirianni era by far.
Which is a good thing. So it's a good problem to have. Mike, I want to ask you, just zooming out a little bit here. your takeaways. I mean, we've seen 2 days of camp. We've seen 2 days of reporters tweeting out what they've seen, talking to John, talking to all the guys you've talked to on your show down the shore. What things stick out to you the most from the first 2 practices of training camp this season?
Well, there's a couple things. One, obviously, I think the Quinyon Mitchell, what are they going to do with him? Because I was always wondering this year, I thought one of the big stories is what's the jump from year 1 to year 2?
Right.
We're talking a lot about like how does, the guys who left, the replacements, but it almost might be a bigger deal of the guys who played last year, Carter, DeJean, Mitchell, Bond, those guys who played really, really well. What's the encore for them? Like, what's your second act here? Are you even better this year than you were last year? And how much that changes the complexity of the defense that has all these new faces. But what if these faces that were here take a step forward? If Jalen Carter takes another step this year from the guy he was last year, now you got a real problem if you're the other team figuring out what to do with him. Quinyon Mitchell, one of the things I thought was interesting is that he's following guys around. So is that a situation where, hey, CeeDee Lamb this week, you're moving, we don't really see the Eagles do that all that often. So is that a possibility? And then Cooper DeJean, obviously. I mean, they're trying to find more ways to get him on the field out of the base, in the base packages. And obviously they play nickel a lot in the league. But what will his ultimate role be? Will we see him play any outside corner too? I mean, he's trying to take in 3 different spots on the field. He excelled at one spot last year. Is this going to be too much for this guy? Is he going to be able to handle this stuff? So I think there's a lot on that side of the ball right now that is very intriguing. And then Campbell being out there, what's his role? Nakobe Dean too, obviously not being able to get out there. Will Nakobe Dean have some sort of role and impact on this team? Or by the time he's healthy and ready, will they just say, can't get this guy 30 off the field. Can't do it.
Yeah, there's always the danger of getting Wally pipped.
Not only Wally pipped, though,
guys,
John,
I think it's happening too. I'm sorry. I think it's if the season started today, let me just get this real quick for my understanding. If the season started today, Jahad Campbell could suit up. That doesn't mean he would play, but he could suit up. Is my understanding correct, or is not at that point?
I would be shocked if he wasn't suited up for a week.
So I think this guy's going to start week 1. I'm sorry. I think he's going to be maybe not start. He's going to be on the field week 1 in some regard.
And the injury that Kobe Dean had, I mean, let's be honest, that's a gruesome injury. For him to come back and be, even if he's the same player, which I got a hard time thinking you're the same player after that injury, something's got to be compromised a little bit. Was he that outstanding that he just automatically gets his job right back as soon as he's cleared? I don't know about that.
According to Vic, he is. I think for whatever reason, there's a couple guys we talked about Milton yesterday, Zander and I, but and Nakobe's the other guy. Like, they were phenomenal last year. And for whatever reason, I don't think it registers with a bunch of people. Not everybody.
It doesn't register, I think, John, because they drafted a guy in that spot. So then in people's minds is they weren't happy enough with that guy. They drafted a guy in the first round to replace him, right?
Wait, you're making me laugh, John. Mike, John hit me with last night. I said the most insane thing he's ever heard because I said I think Jordan Davis.
No, most insane thing that I've ever heard from you, not the most insane thing.
Yeah, no, not
and total.
Because I have a belief that Jordan Davis has an upside that he could one day be a pass rusher to the likes of Milton Williams. How insane am I on your insane meter?
Oh, I would think that's those two are in different classes as pass rushers here. You had one guy who profiled at the draft combine closer to Aaron Donald when he was coming out, Milton Williams. His numbers, oh my God, the only other guy who's put these numbers up is Aaron Donald. He was a quick, explosive guy. Some of the problems with him was why he was a 3rd-round pick. He didn't profile with the long arms and the big guy. He had the shorter arms, but he had that quick, explosive first step. I don't know that Jordan Davis is going to be a guy that's quick, explosive off the ball. And what kind of, he could be a big physical guy and push the line back as a pass rusher. but I don't think he's swimming through with
Yeah,
athleticism
I
to get
understand
back
that.
into the backfield, which is where guys like Milton Williams have the spin moves. They can have the swim and all those things. They have those extra little tools in the interior where there's a lot of bodies and stuff. Jordan Davis, if he's going to pass rush, he's just pushing back through you. Maybe every once in a blue moon against an inferior interior,
Nice.
might be
Nice.
able to slide through a crack here and there. But he's a big human being. But he's John, you've seen him in person. I mean, the pictures look like he has lost
a
a
lot.
Yeah,
significant
he's
amount
lost
of weight.
26 pounds.
That was my thought a little bit. Like I know losing that weight's not going to change who you are as a player, but obviously couple that with the athleticism we've seen from him. I mean, I remember that one play that still sticks in everybody's head. It was from a couple of years ago. It might have been his rookie year when he just chased down Josh Allen. I'm like, boy, if you can hone this guy's skill set and get him in the right environment, I think he could be a good player in a four-man front. But we'll see. I mean, I did think it was positive, Mike, the way he showed up to camp. And I don't know if you heard his press conference. He sounded like a little bit of a different player as well.
I'll tell you the one thing is Jordan Davis is 6'6".
Yeah.
Aaron Donald, by the way, is like 6'1".
Yeah, right.
To be 6'6", the first thing you have to do generally, he stands up, and at 6'6", that's a big dude. At 6'1", you can stay low and get leverage. The low man wins. It's hard for a 6'6" man to be the low man and be able to get low enough to get the leverage enough to then use a spin move or hand placement. Now, if he gets up under and can physically push that offensive lineman back, that's his opportunity to win up front. But that's why I think he could never be a consistent pass rusher. Because number one, even if I said that's the laziest human being you ever saw, I hope he's not. But at 6'6" to get leverage, that's really tough in the interior of the line.
No, and my point to Zander wasn't they're just completely different players with completely different skill sets. And, Jordan Davis is phenomenally athletic for a nose tackle, for a 6'6", 356-pound guy. Now he's 330, and we'll see how that affects him. For that frame, he is incredibly athletic. But yeah, Milton came out at like 282.
Well, just to clarify what I don't know if I articulated it properly or not.
But with the big guy, but still 3 inches shorter than Jordan Davis is.
I don't think Jordan would ever be have the individual pass rushing ability that Milton had. But what I do think is possible, Mike, is if Jordan can become more versatile than what he has been, which is basically a nose tackle, and they can line him up in four-man fronts, with confidence, whether it's rushing the passer or stopping the run, I think that gives your defense a chance to be better, even better than they were last year, because you don't always have to go to the five-man front to stop the run. Now you have Jordan on the field in a four-man front who can stop the run. Maybe it's a marginally worse pass rusher, but does overall that give Vic more ability to get Jahad Campbell on the field? Maybe 3 linebackers on the field, maybe an extra guy in coverage. Like that's kind of what I was thinking in terms of upside with Davis in the four-man front.
I would say this too. If Davis is more, is just a better player and space eating and taking up more attention, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Jahad Campbell, how much, those guys, we don't know what Hunt, this guy could be all over the map. He had a really good playoff run. He had a solid, I think, surprising, back end of the year. What does he do over 17 games? Same with Nolan Smith. Smith was outstanding in the playoffs, and really from November on, he made an impact. So are those two guys, like Josh Sweat was just a steady Eddie player, kind of. Is Jalix Hunt going to offer more in terms of pressure than Josh Sweat did? And if that's the case, the Jordan Davis you're talking about is acceptable. And if he could create more opportunities for those guys, I think you're looking at the opportunities he can create for the other guys rather than the opportunities he can create for his own self.
Yeah, I think that's a fair takeaway. Yep.
Yeah, I've said pretty consistently when we talked about Jordan Davis over the years and when they had Milton Williams, my argument would be for people that he's got to play more. He's got to play more. I said from Vic's standpoint, it's like, well, what do you mean he's got to play more? It's like if it's 3rd and 10, I want in the case of the end of last year, you want
Right.
Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat and Jalen Carter and Milton Williams on the field. Why would you not want those guys on the
Right.
field? This year, on paper, you want Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Jalen Carter, and Moro Jomo. Like, why would you not want those guys on the field
Yeah, right.
if everything goes to
Now,
to
did
plan?
Vic's answer, John, change or at least alter like what you are expecting there to be? Because
Well, again, they
that
want
question about Moro was interesting, and he did loop in. It's going to be eaten up by Jordan and Moro. I thought that was
well
interesting.
because he values Milton a lot, and he knows how good Milton was. So
Right.
his point is, it's going to take a village to replace Milton Williams, and you're going to have to split those reps. You can't just give them all to Moro Jomo, because Moro's probably not equipped from a size standpoint, things like that, to handle all those reps. So it's going to have to be split. Moro's going to get more. Jordan's going to get more. And he even mentioned Ty Robinson and Thomas Booker, guys like that.
Yeah.
Byron Young even got a shout out. So,
Well, and by the way, I think Morrow did get a lot of snaps last year. They just weren't, I don't want to say impactful snaps, but they weren't.
Well,
he's
if
not
you
back
count,
to the quarterback, he's doing his job.
he had a very good season. Their question with Moro Jomo is, can he do it over a larger sample size because he is undersized, or will that wear him down? Will people start to take advantage of it? So there's a lot that goes into it, but if they had their druthers, those are the four guys that are going to be on the field on 3rd and 10. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Jalen Carter, Moro Jomo.
Yeah. And listen, and if Jalix Hunt is all of a sudden a guy that you're all excited about, and the first couple of weeks you're like, uh-oh, that's where the interesting part will be then. Does Azeez Ojulari, does he start to be the guy that like gets more attention? Does Josh Uche, do they both make the team? Does only one of those guys make the team? Are you just banking that Hunt is going to go out there and be able to be the guy that you hope he is? I think for him, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of start he gets off to. He's getting all this attention. Are people going to start saying, we got to, I don't want to say game plan for him, but we got to put more attention on this guy. We don't know much about him. Let's watch some more film on this guy that had a little bit of a breakout late in the season. Because if you start to see some of the techniques and he's only got one trick, they figure you out quickly.
Yeah.
Ask Josh Uche, by the way.
Yeah. That is part of it, because nobody was paying attention to Jalix Hunt and Moro Jomo last year.
Right, like I said, ask Josh Uche. This guy had 11.5 sacks. The next year, people say, oh, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah,
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
That's going to be a thing with a lot of players this year. Mike, one more guy I want to talk about before we let you go here. I appreciate the time you've given us on this Football Friday. Keely Ringo. A lot of conversation about him. What do you think of what you've seen so far from training camp? I think he's a player that inherently has the ability. You just have to kind of unlock it. A lot of people kind of sounding the alarm because he's getting beaten up by A.J. Brown and Terrace Marshall at camp. What'd you make of the Keely Ringo talk?
Oh, Ringo is a guy that has been maddening because in Georgia, this guy has all the talent. He's got the physical traits. He's got the speed. We keep hearing about it. It hasn't translated. He's had so many breakdowns. You wonder how much he is able to, the terminology, is he having problems with that stuff? Is he just not getting the defense? Because physically, he's the guy, right? You would look at this guy and say, this is the guy we want to play that spot. Is he one of those guys that, needs game action and the practice field just isn't where he excels? Well, guess what? You might not get that opportunity. I would imagine that they want him to win that job. And it's tough to say, man, I got to win the job trying to defend A.J. Brown in practice. That's not the best way to show that you could be, the best out of the group. But I'm very intrigued. I go back to, they're playing Cooper at safety to try to get more ways to get on the field. But are we going to see more of Cooper and Quinion on the outside this year? Because I like Mac McWilliams, and I would not be surprised if they like him as well, if they think he can handle playing some slot.
Yeah, I like Mac McWilliams. I'm with you. Good coverage guy.
I liked him out of the draft. I said the day after he got drafted, don't be surprised if they say we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. And if that means he plays the slot more and Cooper goes to the outside. But I like Cooper in the slot. I'm very conflicted on that.
You like
have a
Cooper?
guy.
Well, Cooper's safety now, man. It's looking pretty evident that he's going to be safety in the base.
In the base, but how much are you playing in the base?
Last year,
No, not much, like 10 snaps a game. But
right, exactly. So I think that's your way to, like, hey, we want to keep him on the field for those extra 10 snaps. But
yeah. But my point is, if Mac McWilliams or somebody, or even Drew Makuba can play the slot, all of a sudden, and that's way down the road. He's had a couple good practices. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm more, and I'm surprised because I asked Vic, because in the spring, Cooper was playing outside in the base. He was playing corner. And as they started camp, now he's playing safety. And I asked Vic, why is that just part of the process? And he gave me more than I expected, to be honest. And he likes him at safety. And I think long term, I think it's leaning towards that's where Cooper's going. But it's still very early in the process. And to your point, Mike, you need somebody to play the slot if he's moving away from the slot. Yeah. This year, don't get me wrong, I still think Cooper's going to play in the safety and the base defense, which is 10 snaps a game. And he's going to play the vast majority of the time in the slot. But all I'm trying to say is, if McWilliams is a natural, then why not start it early?
So who'd be outside in base? Would the assumption be Ringo opposite Quinion?
Yeah, Ringo or Jackson and opposite Quinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the question that Vic ended on yesterday. He said about Mac McWilliams. He's an interesting guy, almost like we didn't expect we were getting what we're getting from this guy from the slot. And if he can do it, I might have a couple moves I can make on the chessboard here.
He was what, a 5th round pick this year, McWilliams?
4th or 5th.
Fifth. Yeah.
He was Central Florida. He had transferred there.
He finished at Central Florida, went to UAB before that. He played mostly outside in college, and because he doesn't have the prototypical size, most people projected him inside. But and Vic started that cross training pretty quickly, because he started him outside because that's where he was comfortable with, and now he's moved him inside, and he looks not overwhelmed at all, which I think is very positive. Yeah, but there's your Mac Williams update at Mike Gill Show. Thanks, Mike. I imagine you're waiting for the people to leave down the shore. How was that? How was that waiting for the start of the season? Has a different feel for you.
It's a big event in Ocean City this weekend too, isn't it?
I think Night in Venice is
it's a Night in Venice.
Yeah.
The day the people come down the shore is the day we can't wait for them to also leave the shore.
That makes sense to me. If you're a local,
we'll give you one designated day to sit down here, spend money, and then leave.
Well, they do. Hey, listen, those tourists do keep a lot of the economy rolling down there. So
believe me, it's definitely the conflict of, well, without tourists, business. Listen, the fall's fine down here. We do okay. It is. I drive because I go up to the Fanatic on Sundays, and I drive up, and on my way home, I just laugh at the people sitting in that traffic on the way back.
That's nice that you're going to the Fanatic on Sunday instead of Saturdays, because Saturdays you'd be sitting
Saturday rentals. And I always, I was reading an article about like how the Jersey Shore, like the prices are so outrageous, it's so crazy, and everything, and it's like it's because it's like a tradition that people just go down the shore. There's got to be better vacationing spots than here. Like there was an article about this of like, is it more that it's just a tradition and that's what you're used to? Because there's got to be better places to find, because like these little beach towns and stuff, like at some point to sit in that traffic every single weekend can't be fun. It just cannot be a good time.
I don't know, man. You're talking to a guy. My whole family loves the beach. My grandma bought a house down there in 1978. We still own it. We still go to it.
It's the tradition of it. It's the tradition of it.
We love it. My family loves it a lot more than all my cousins. My specific family loves the beach. I mean, we love it. But I get it.
But I'm saying there's other beaches. There's beaches all up and down the coast. Why?
I know. I would never not go to Cape May. I mean, Cape May, Mike, that's my town. I love Cape May, dude.
I would recommend if you want to make the drive, the Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Yeah,
now that's a
Outer
long
Banks,
drive.
A long drive, but I've been to the Outer Banks, and that's where you go. There's no one on the beach. There's nothing to do there. You just sit there and enjoy yourself. They have the brew through. You drive through. They hand you your cold ones, and you go right to the house.
It is phenomenal. Maybe I shouldn't have recommended because then people will figure it out.
I like it.
The 715 people watching, John, will now populate in the Outer Banks.
Yeah. I know everybody's got their specific town and why they like it, but it goes back to the tradition. This is where we went. This is where my family went. Yada yada yada. But there's not a whole heck of a lot of stuff to do anymore.
Yeah.
I hear
the old Jack's place.
You sound like an old man. Get off my. You sound like
get off Mike Gill's lawn.
Old man, get out of my town. That's what you sound like, Mike. Good stuff, Mike. We appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys follow Mike and subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's at Mike Gill Show. And listen to him at 97.3 ESPN down the shore, 97.5 The Fanatic on Sundays up in Philly. Mike, thank you, man. We appreciate you doing it on a Football Friday. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you.
Thanks, bud.
Mike Gill joining us here on Birds 365.
He's going on vacation soon. I got to check that
that's right. I forgot to ask him.
He's going to Prague. He's going to Prague and Lisbon.
Yeah.
So forget the Outer Banks. Go to Prague.
Do you have the desire to world travel or not?
No. God, no. No, I travel.
Some people just have a major desire.
Yeah, they wanderlust, whatever you call it. I traveled so much in my younger days. I hate travel.
Did you travel a lot in your younger days?
Oh my God, I used to.
Well, I'm young now.
No, not outside the country. I just mean in general here. I've been to every major city that has a sports team, so I just hate traveling. I hate hotel rooms.
You're desensitized to the airport and everything. It's just a fucking nightmare.
Oh, it's a nightmare. I hate it. I gotta psych myself up like it's a game to go to the airport. When I gotta go to the airport, it's awful. Everything about it is awful.
It is. I'm so with you, man. It's brutal, but I hear you. Some people love it. Mike is a world traveler, man. This is his second big trip in,
you know what?
in 6 months. I'm like, holy moly, man.
You know what? Because Martin Frank, my buddy Martin Frank, it's always the lady in their lives that wants to go travel. I'm just saying. And they'll probably get mad at me because that's probably it's always. So
is your wife on your page where
she'd like to go places.
But
she would. Yeah, she would definitely like to travel, and I hate it. I mean, she understands because I traveled so much earlier in my life. I like a lot of people like hotel rooms. I despise hotel rooms, even nice ones.
Yeah, I'm now that we are on the same page on. No, yeah, not me. Yeah, I'm a creature of habit, man. I like my domain. I like where I'm at. I don't like to. I'm good, but I get it. You're probably right. Maybe my girl will get to me eventually and get me to get out of the country, which I don't know. Seems like a big ass.
No, London, but and then it's cool. But there's a lot of things I did with him. Yeah, I'm done. I've done it all. It's one of those things.
I hear you. All right, let's get to some super chats. Then we'll get to our commercial break. We got a great hour number 2. And hour number 2, I'm going to open it up to take some chats from the great people. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to talk to J-Mac about, drop them in the chat. We appreciate all of our super chats as always. S Payne 690 checks in. What's up, brother? He says, J-Mac, Big Z, Big Sills, y'all keep me entertained on the road. Much appreciated. You got it, brother. Are there any sleepers that could potentially have a bigger role than expected? I think you might have heard one in Mac McWilliams there, John.
Yeah, Max won. Bigger. One of the things that is good about this team is they have so many good players. So guys, getting surprises are going to have to be probably due to injury. Mac's not going to play unless somebody gets hurt. But if he does play, maybe he's a little bit better than expected. Smile Munden, I thought was one of those guys, but now that Jihad's back so early, I don't think he's going to be as relevant. Ty Robinson's a guy who's got a chance to win that fourth job on the interior of the defensive line. So he's got an opportunity. I brought up APR a lot, Antoine Powell-Ryland. Now, I don't think it was a positive that they brought in the middle-sized O for APR. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I mean, this team is pretty locked in. So I wouldn't root for that, if that makes sense, because that means somebody is not performing up to expectations, and even more likely that is injured. So that's the path to bigger roles, and I wouldn't be necessarily rooting for that.
That's Payne. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. JD checking in. What's up, JD? He says Cam Newton is a goof. Dude been going at Jalen for a week. Man had one elite season and choked it away. Been a goof since he was stealing laptops in Florida. I don't know anything about that story, but yeah, it is a little drawn out now. It's like, all right.
Once I get in the training camp mode, I don't see much of anything. I saw the first tidbit. I don't know if it's been going on for a week. I haven't seen any of it. The only thing I push back on, he had more than one season. He was a pretty good player. Dresses, kind of strangely, but that's okay. Flavor, but he was a really good player. Look up Cam Newton. Yeah, he played.
I know he was a great player, but I do think it's a little. I don't know. It's a little drawn out now. It's like, all right, a week straight of like coming up in jail. It's like, all right, enough.
Well, I don't even know what he.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. It was like a week ago. He put him out of his top.
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Yeah, and now it's like a week. He's like answering everybody that responds to him about Jalen Hurts. But anyway, and Martin checks in. What's up, brother? He says Raiders released Christian Wilkins. Yeah, we talked about that last night. 3-tech defensive line coming off a Jones fracture. Had his best year playing for Vic in Miami in 2023. Would the Eagles have interest? I'm nervous about the depth behind Carter.
Well, you should be, but you can't find Christian Wilkins to be depth. He's a good player. Now, again, as I mentioned last night on the show, I don't know what's going on the injury front with him. If he does need surgery, if he doesn't need surgery. But if he's healthy, no, the Eagles aren't signing him because he's going to get a lot of money. He's not a backup player. He's a very good player. That's why he got the contract he got. So no, I don't necessarily see it as a fit because he's just, you can't pay him like a backup. And I know everybody, well, maybe he wants to go chase a Super Bowl ring. No, he wants money. And he's going to get it if he's deemed healthy by somebody out there.
And Martine, thank you, brother. We'll see what ends up happening. I do think he'd be an interesting addition. That's going to be a shit show, John. That with what's going on with that, I think at least I think it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. As a pure football player, would I love to have him? I'd love to have him for 32 teams if he's healthy. So I'm not trying to say he wouldn't be an interesting addition.
No, yeah, I know that. It's just not that. Yeah,
it's just not possible if he's healthy because he's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, we'll see. Apparently, yeah, that's what I saw. Joe Webb says he refused to get a second surgery. I saw that. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, so who knows? Brian Garner checking in. What's up, brother? Member for 9 months. Thank you, man. Appreciate all of our great members. We got a bunch more giveaways coming up this year, so thanks everybody for being a member. Garner says, fellas, catching up on content. I live in Virginia now and travel to the Outer Banks every summer. It's getting crowded there. Not as bad as Jersey, but not empty.
Right. Well, good. I don't want to be responsible for ruining it, so already it's starting to get ruined, so. All right. At least it's not going to be my fault.
John, you would place yourself on the beach with not a soul within 50 miles.
Oh my God. Well, that's what I did in the Outer Banks. That's exactly what I did. You bring beer on the beach, at least back then. I assume it's the same.
I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to talk about anything.
I was reading books, which nobody does. Yeah, exactly. Stay away.
Are you a big reader still, or not really? Too busy?
Too busy. I mean, in the off season, I try to read as much as possible.
Yeah, so you get smarter.
Nonfiction, though.
And this is something I can subscribe to. Movie recommendations, I'll probably
nonfiction though, not a fiction.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't read fiction. Any book recommendations for the great people on this Football Friday?
No, it's interesting. Well, again, I read a lot of biographies, things like that. But so David McCullough, anything he does. But when it talks about, like I said, I'm not a fiction guy. Jordan, that's what I was saying. Nolan Smith. There was a lot of book talk. It became Oprah's book club with Nolan Smith yesterday. So does a lot of self-help books with AJ Brown. I'm not a self-help guy either. So, but I just like to read about history and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what interests me.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
And unfortunately, even now, though, I've learned that history is written by the victors. So you're not often getting the full story. So, maybe I'm a little bit too cynical now.
No, I think you're right on about that. History is definitely written by the victors. That's no doubt about it. Look, I just want to make one comment on this, and I'm gonna probably rip some people who do this. But Swagger says, I'm with J-Mac. I hate some jackass playing shitty music and talking loud right next to me while his kid hits me in the head with an errant frisbee. Now I'm good with the kid hitting me in the head, all right? Because I'm good with kids having some fun. I hate people who bring speakers in public places and blare it up for everybody to hear. I'm like, all right, man, shut up. Nobody wants to hear your music. Nobody gives a shit about your music. Put on an earphone or something. That drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, the Jersey Shore is just untenable at this stage.
It's great in the fall. It is, Mike.
I got it. Yeah, well, I'm with you. I love going down there, but I go down there mainly to eat and go to things, but all off season, not in season, so to speak. And it's disappointing because I was I left camp. So yesterday was Thursday. I left at 3:00. 3:00 on a Thursday, going back to South Jersey on the Walt Whitman. It's the Walt Whitman. It's backed up at 3:00, 3/4 of the way over the bridge.
Don't you feel like ever since COVID that rush hour has gotten way earlier?
Well, these are all shore people trying to get down the shore down. And it's like, it's not even it's not Saturdays. Mike points out Saturday. It's like, I don't understand. Yeah. But you're right. To COVID points, it's like, doesn't anybody work a 9 to 5 anymore?
I don't know what happened, man. I don't know. Slagger, thanks for the comment. Appreciate all of you guys in here today. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we're going to dive into the full takeaways from the first 2 days of practice. Eagles are on a walkthrough today with no media availability. All right, so nothing today, or at least John won't be down there today, and then back at it tomorrow there on the field. So we'll have a football 24/7 tomorrow to recap. So good stuff there. Appreciate everybody for being here. Hit that like button. Love all you guys. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody for being here. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. Give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. Appreciate everybody for being here. We've had a great crowd this week, John. It's good to have football back. Last week I called it a Football Friday, and it's always a Football Friday, but this is the first real Football Friday. Yeah, the team is back. John's going down to the NovaCare complex. We're getting pictures of dudes in shirts and shorts, which is always fun. But it's good to have a Football Friday here on the show. Johnny Mac, the first one of many as we kick off the 2025 season campaign. For me, it starts right now, not in September 4th.
Yeah, a little bit of breaking news, somewhat
here we go.
related. Jordan Hicks has announced his retirement. Very good Eagles linebacker, 3rd-round pick, one of Chip Kelly's, I would say, best decisions as a player. Was really a big-time playmaker when he was with the Eagles, but had some injury issues. And then, I think he only played one full season with the Eagles. And obviously he was here for the Super Bowl 52 team. He was part of that team, and he was the middle linebacker on that team, but he got hurt. And Nigel Bradham, if you remember, had to slip over and played very well. Very similar to last year, if you think about it. Nakobe Dean getting hurt. Now, Nakobe was much later, and Oren Burke stepping in and doing. Now, Nigel was the starter next to Jordan Hicks and had to sort of move over and take over the middle linebacker role. But then he left Philadelphia, partially because of those injury issues. And then he stayed healthy for like 4 consecutive years, and he was great in Arizona. He was great in Minnesota. And yeah, just a really solid NFL career, a really good player, part of that Super Bowl 52 championship team. And one of Chip Kelly's best draft picks, I would say.
Yeah.
Really smart guy, really nice guy, intelligent, high football IQ. But congrats to Jordan Hicks on a really, really, really good NFL career.
Yeah, great job. Great stuff from Jordan, from Jordan Hicks, great Eagle. And shout out to him for the retirement. Congratulations to him. So good stuff there from Jordan Hicks. John, a viewer just brought up something that I forgot to mention to you. And it came out late last night. Jimbo says, hey, Zander, can you guys talk about the potential stadium renovation and new stadium news? Not sure how I feel about that one. So evidently, Jeffrey Lurie, or the Eagles organization, sent an email to season ticket holders, basically soliciting information or thoughts from them on new stadiums, potentially building a new stadium. Obviously, I know Jeffrey in the past spoke about he wants to have Super Bowls here. He wants to have big events here. And without a roof, you can't do that. I don't know. Are we going to lose it? John, what do you know about that? What can you add to that conversation?
Yeah, it's nothing immediate. They have, I believe, 8 years left on the current lease. But yeah, long term, they want a Super Bowl in Philadelphia, and Jeffrey in the past has mentioned other events. The Final Four is not coming here any longer. You can have a regional, but the finals, they do that in domes now. Even WrestleMania, when it was here, it was a success, but it was really cold, and they ain't coming back because it was, they had some inclement weather.
Right.
So, to get those level of events consistently, you need a dome at this point. But again, nothing immediate, but eventually, yes, that they will, whether they renovate and put it on the current Lincoln Financial Field, which is probably not cost effective, or, tear it down and build again. Now, the problem is, they did mention in the email, which I got a copy of from someone, again, renovation options and the possibility of a brand new stadium. And I think the term was, and I'm trying to find it, in the region. So you're going to hear that talk. In the region means, are they going to move to South Jersey? They're going to move to the suburbs.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and you saw it with the Sixers, ultimately it's usually going to broker a deal, and it's going to stay in the sports complex. So it wouldn't get too, and again, this is 8 years down the road. So you got a long time, but eventually, Lincoln Financial Field is already considered outdated in the modern world. If you see some of these new stadiums, SoFi,
they're crazy, dude.
AT&T, Mercedes-Benz, and if they still call it that in Atlanta.
Yeah, man, I've been there. I've been to the Jerry's World in Dallas. That one's crazy. I've never been to
Minneapolis, where the Eagles won Super Bowl 52.
Somebody's got a big new stadium coming right now too. Who is it? The Bills? Is it the Bills?
Bills. Yeah. I'm not sure how, Buffalo's still not going to get a Super Bowl, but yeah, it's going to be a dome. Unfortunately, these, things keep advancing to the point where they become outdated pretty early. And if Philadelphia wants to get these events, they're going to have to upgrade the stadium, and Jeffrey wants to be a big part of it. So something will be done. I wouldn't worry about the Eagles leaving or anything like that. But yeah, something will be done. Yeah, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit for sure. But Jeffrey Lurie's been such a great owner for this team, for the city. So I would anticipate what he does will be beneficial for the city. Maybe not, and I'll tell you if it's not, but I think he will be. He's been an excellent owner, probably easily by a country mile, the best owner of all the Philadelphia teams by far. Johnny Mac, what's next for training camp, man? We got obviously the walkthrough today, but I mean a little bit bigger picture. How does this thing develop? Obviously, they start slow. Eventually, they're going to get the pads on. What more do you look for? How do you expect things to evolve as we get closer to the season? Believe it or not, John, I think we're only 2 weeks away from the first preseason game. I think it's
Yeah, it's
early
quick.
on.
That's why it was a little bit earlier kicking off around the country camps because the games kick off a little bit earlier. But, preseason obviously has turned into starters, key players aren't going to play much. So Vic maybe is going to play a little bit more defensive players than they are offensively. That's just its nature, but that kind of stuff. As far as camp goes, yeah, camp is campus, Nick Sirianni. That's where I started. Very similar. When the pads come on, yeah, it's more relevant for offensive linemen, defensive linemen. So you're going to get a better indication on where Jalix Hunt is and Nolan Smith is. And even Aziz Ojolari, Josh Uche, can they help? The middle-sized O, can he help? Those kinds of guys. Offensively, you'll get to see the Miles Hintons, the rookies, the Drew Kendalls, the Cam Williams. How do they look when the pads come on?
I want to know how Tyler Steen looks. I mean, you're saying the camp, you're saying that the competition's over. That's fine. Well, I hope he's going to be ready to play because he was a little spotty in the moments he's been in there.
Yeah, I don't think I by no means am I saying it should be over. I just think it is over. Yeah. But I think it's over for week one. I don't think it's over in perpetuity. I think if he's going to start as the right guard, and if he performs, he'll stay. And if he doesn't, I think Matt Pryor will come in. Very similar to Isaac Seumalo and Stepan Wisniewski back in the day. He's the insurance plan, Matt Pryor. And I think that will continue. But yeah, I think we've seen enough of Tyler Steen. Hopefully there's incremental improvement, but I don't think it's going to be a Mekhi Becton situation. And we'll see how the Eagles persevere at that particular position and how it unfolds. But I don't think you're going to see a competition, barring injury, at that particular position. There's been no evidence of it. Think about all the other competitions we've talked about. It's obviously a competition. Kaylee Ringo and Adoree Jackson, Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba.
Right.
Now that Jahad Campbell's back, you'll see him get some first-team reps, I would imagine, from Jeremiah Trotter. It will become a competition. I do not see that. Even if you want to look at backup defensive tackle and Thomas Booker getting first-team reps, Ty Robinson starting on the second team. It's a competition. There's been no evidence that there's going to be any competition at right guard.
Yep, we'll see what ends up happening there. John, anybody that doesn't look the part in these competitions, like a reason I would say that would be like a guy like Sidney Brown or even a guy like Keely Ringo. Like I was wondering, do you think Ringo is more cut out to be a man cover corner, and that's why he might not ever work out in the Fangio system because his skill set would maybe work better for that? I'm speculating because I obviously haven't seen the player hasn't played a whole lot in the NFL, but anything like that you've noticed at camp that you just think, even if the player is good, might not work out in what they're trying to do in Philly?
I see that more with Sidney than Kaylee Ringo. I don't think Sidney is a fit for what Vic likes to do, which is one of the reasons I kind of speculated he might be an under the radar trade candidate later in the summer. Player for player type thing. If they still need help in an edge rusher, I could see that. I threw that out there at SI, trying to hit a home run. I don't think he's a fit. I don't see that with Kaylee now. And anybody saying somebody doesn't look the part after 2 days of practice, just delete them and stop listening to them. I mean, you can't make those grandiose.
Well, yeah, I think, but I do think overall, I mean, just his skill set. I don't know if it's just based off the 2 days of practice. I think it could be, I don't know.
Well, I talked to Slay a lot about that last year, and because I had this theory that I think a lot of people, I know, evidenced by who gets paid, Like everybody's enamored by press cover corners. So one day I just strolled up to Slay and I asked him that. I said, to me, as a novice, I'm not playing corner. To me, it would be tougher to play in big style where you got all these zone responsibilities than pointing at the guy across the line of scrimmage and say, that's your guy. And Slay confirmed it wholeheartedly. Oh, he's like a million times yes. It's like, and he said, give me a guy who can play off cover and I can teach him the rest. If you can't play off, you can't play. So that's his mentality. And he's talking about zone coverage, just the communication, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like it's easy to point. No, it's not easy to play because you got to be this phenomenal. To play NFL corner, you got to be the phenomenal athlete. One of the best athletes on the field. So, can he handle that off coverage? Can he handle the communication? Yeah, that to me is a bigger question with Kelee Ringo than obviously he's got the physical skills. But even the people who don't like him say, you always hear, well, he's too big. He's got trouble, turning his hips and things like that.
I hear that everywhere. So he can't flip the hips.
And it becomes like that. Like somebody hears it and all of a sudden it becomes a thing. I've seen no evidence of that. Like on his bad day, like he was right there in coverage. He was flipping his hips. He wasn't making the play at the catch point. Wasn't tracking the ball well. AJ went up and high pointed him, but it's AJ freaking Brown. The one where he did get beat pretty badly was Terrace Marshall. And all right, it was 7-on-7. And Terrace Marshall beat him. Like, yeah, okay. Again, it's practice. Does he learn from it? And he came back on day 2 and he played better. I don't think it's like Nolan Smith said, he got 1% worse the first day, 1% better the second day. He didn't have a good day on the first day, according to him. I didn't notice anything drastic, but according to him, he didn't play well.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sounding any alarm bells over Kelee Ringo. Part of the problem is, and again, we're part of the problem. We're a big part of the problem, and I include myself. We cover practice like it's a game. So everybody treats it like a game. And it's not. Oh, so-and-so made a play and this and that. Because why? Because people want that. But it's not. It's not a game. And that's why I brought up the J.J. Watt post from yesterday. It's like, you don't know what they're trying to accomplish. What they're not trying to accomplish is winning the practice. And again, I go back to JJ. I just pulled it up. You have no idea what the purpose of that period is, what the goals are, what the context is. And this is, for me, never mind fans. It could be strictly 3rd and long blitz period where every play is skewed to the defense's advantage. Coaches could be asking the quarterback to focus specifically on one route concept to get it right. D-line may be focusing only on bull rushes because they're struggling with bull rushes one day or just speed rushes for one period. It's not a game. And I'm as guilty as anybody else because that's what we're forced to do. That's what we have to do. And we say, oh, this is this and that, Jalix Hunt got a sack on Jordan Mailata, or, who knows? They blow the whistle. You think Jalen Hurts can't step up and extend the play in a real game? So yeah, a lot of it is that, trying to get better and trying to work on certain things. And that's why Nick Sirianni said in the past, that's why, people prefer scripted joint practices, which are scripted, over preseason games, because you can script what you want to work on. You can put your head together with the opposite coach, like Cleveland's coming in later. So he'll get together with Kevin Stefanski, and Kevin will want to work on certain things for his team, and Nick, and they'll split the periods. Eagles may want to work on red zone. Cleveland may want to work on backed up situations because they're not performing well. There's all this. There's a million points of context that are lost. And people treat practices like they're games, and it's silly.
We'll see what ends up happening with it. I still got some optimism on it, but we'll see how it all shakes out. I think the interesting name that came up, Mike mentioned it, McWilliams. I didn't expect him to be to be in the conversation, but I think it does give you a good variable there, John. Let's jump into safety, though. We mentioned it a little bit, but I don't know what's going to happen there. Is Sidney Brown kind of the default option, and Makuba would have to pry it from his hands? I know we say they want Makuba to win the job, but to be honest with you, John, I don't really know what the heck that means. They want him to win, but is he good enough to win it? Is he good enough to play it? Is he going to be good on our defense? I mean, what do you see right now at the safety position?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody looks at his skill set and says this is what Vic wants in his safety. So that's why everybody's leaning towards Makuba. To date, Sidney's gotten more first team reps. Now that's how they do it because he's been here longer. But I was, for the Tristan McCullum people, and the Tristan played before him last year, I tried to explain pretty consistently that that's because Sidney wasn't healthy, which Vic again emphasized yesterday. So he's healthy now. They're defaulting to him. He's the guy getting the most first team reps. Again, Cooper has been playing in the base, but when they play nickel, which is the vast majority of the time, it's Sidney Brown basically versus Drew Makuba with some little Tristan McCullum thrown in. And wouldn't surprise me if any of the three won the job, but it would surprise me if Makuba wasn't the safety at some point this season. I don't think Sidney Brown is a fit for what Vic likes to do. But again, that's personal. Seems more like a box safety to me, and the Eagles don't utilize that very much. But that's why everybody neither has stood out. There haven't been many plays on defense. But neither has done anything really that you stand out in a bad fashion either.
Yeah, we're kind of just like right in the middle,
Yeah. So it's still legit competition, and Vic said that would probably last till late August after a couple preseason games, he said. So he plans on playing both in the preseason, no question. And yeah, that one's going to take a while.
Yeah. Any sleeper names, John, on the defensive side that you think could make a push at any position? I do think there is, because there's so much potential for it to go so many different ways. I do think that invites some, potential unexpected things as well. Any sleeper names that stick out to you? I know you haven't seen much, only 2 days, but any sleeper names you think could make a push?
No, I mean, Mac would be the biggest one, and Vic brought him up, and that has more to do with, again, he's been pretty consistent, whether you talk about Zach Bond, Cooper DeJean, and even when it comes to traveling corners, it's been a theme. He's trying to, when I talk about teaching people, Vic tries to teach people. It's got more to do with the other guys. He's said it consistently. Like, where is Zach Bond going to play? Middle linebacker or weak? It's got more to do with the other guys. If Campbell wins, which is likely if he's healthy, he's going to play middle linebacker. If Trotter wins, which is becoming less and less likely, he's going to probably play weak side linebacker. With Cooper, now it looks like he's going to play safety and base, slot in nickel, could be corner. He still says he's going to get some looks out there. Could be outside corner and base, could be before moving to the slot. However, Andrew Makuba takes off. Maybe it is outside corner. Kaylee Ringo takes off. It's probably going to be safety. So that aspect of it is dependent on the other guys. And then there was a lot of traveling cornerback talk because Quignon's on the left side and he's been on the right side. And Vic said, we're preparing in case we want to travel. But he also said, has more to do with the other guys. Are they comfortable? Because if Slay traveled, or if Mitchell travels this year and follows Jamar Chase around all over the field, that means Ringo has to travel. Is he comfortable with it? And they're working him on both sides.
Yeah, right.
That means Cooper has to travel in the slot.
I think that's probably the toughest variable with Quignon traveling. It's a good point by you. Quignon's going to move. Okay, everybody else got to move too.
Yeah. Well, that's Vic said it. Jim used to say it back in the day because everybody's like travel. Well, why don't you have a travel lock? Everybody else has got to move if he travels. That's the part nobody thinks about, or very few think about. So he's tried to emphasize that a lot. Like he's got confidence in Cooper playing safety, playing slot, playing outside corner. He's got confidence in Zach Bond playing middle linebacker or weak side linebacker. He's got confidence in Quignon Mitchell traveling. He doesn't yet have confidence in the other guys that will impact where they're going to play. And that is more indicative of if the other corner, whether it's Dory Jackson or Ringo, is not comfortable, Quignon's not going to travel. If, again, I pointed out with Bond, if Campbell's in there, he's playing middle linebacker. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. You think Campbell's going to start week 1?
If he's healthy, I don't see why not.
I'm having a hard time seeing where Nakobe Dean fits in, but I understand if he's healthy, he's going to be the Mike. But I don't know. I think
that's like 8 games in. That'll be a 7-8 game. I'm not. It's not. He's not playing early. Nakobe.
No, I know that. I wonder if Jihad is going to be so
he
good.
Plays well.
Yeah, as I mean. I don't know. I got high hopes for Jihad Campbell. I think he's going to be a really good player.
I know, but Vic has said pretty consistently, if Nakobe's healthy, he's going to be the. But another part of it is, again, he doesn't want Zach Bond to play middle linebacker. It's part of it as well.
Would he ever use 3 linebackers if he could get home with that 4-man front?
Well, again, in a substantive fashion, no. Well, at some point, could it be mainly in short yardage goal line? Yeah. But, people, depends if you're going to be a stickler. He already does it occasionally, very rarely, usually in, again, short yardage. And now that you have 3 more capable linebackers, it would probably uptick the odds of that, but not in a substantive way at all. In a meaningful way. Talk about the base defense, which is ridiculous. I say it all the time. It's ridiculous they keep calling it the base defense because they play it 10 times a game, and that's overshooting it. Why is that the base defense if you're in nickel 75% of the time? So anyway, just stupid labeling thing. So, and even when they have, there's a good chance there's 3 linebackers on the field by a labeling standpoint, with Nakobe Dean being healthy, Zach Bond and Jihad Campbell rushing in a sub package. But he's really playing defensive end if he wanted, but he's called a linebacker. So
that's the package that excites me the most. But you're right, it's not really linebacker. I mean, it's the labeling in the NFL drives me fucking crazy. You alerted me to it, like the level, the degree to which it extends to. It drives me crazy, but it's crazy because it actually matters. It matters for players, for paychecks, for all pros, for all sorts of different things that factor in on people's careers. So it does matter, but it's wildly inconsistent. At least it feels like it is.
Yeah, well, it's not meaningful from a football perspective. It's meaningful from a business perspective, as you pointed out, which
matters though.
Yeah, it matters, certainly matters, but it doesn't matter to winning a football game. So it doesn't matter to Vic. It doesn't matter to scheming. Like you're out on the field to perform a certain role, and whether somebody else wants to define it differently because you're called a linebacker. It's like the stupid rules of Ben Van Sumeren. Well, he had to change his number because he's now designated as a fullback. Can he still play linebacker? Yes. And his most relevant role is special teams. But yeah, it drives me crazy because people, well, he's a linebacker. No, yeah. Sometimes he plays linebacker. And that's why it's going to be interesting now that you have these hybrid players. I always bring up Metellus in Minnesota because he played 13 different positions. There's only 11 positions. He played 13 different positions, conflating by Brian Flores information, designation. What is your role on a specific play? You might be called to safety. He's called to safety, but he plays linebacker more than he plays safety. Sometimes he's even on the defensive front. But he's standing up. He's a joker. Right. He's a hero, whatever you want to call it. So yeah. And as you get more of those versatile style players, and now the Eagles are starting to get them with Cooper specifically and Zach Bond to a certain degree, and hopefully Jihad Campbell, you're going to see it more and more where in the same drive, Cooper's going to be playing safety, maybe, and slot. And who knows, outside corner, if somebody moves, if somebody motions. And the same thing with Jihad, he might be playing stack linebacker on first down and second down, and then he's at edge rusher on third down. So you're going to see a lot of that, I think, in the coming weeks and years with those 2 players specifically.
Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out with them. A lot of stuff happening here in the Eagles training camp. A lot of stuff still yet to come. Only 2 days in of practice. We're a couple weeks out from the first preseason game. Guys, the season's going to be here before you know it, I promise. I think we're 41 days away from the opener. So it's happening quick, everybody. Let's get to some super chats. Brian Fleming, thank you, brother. You dropped this in last night. I forgot to read it to John, and I'm going to now read it to John. He says, J-Mac, Aziz JD could be a Milton S3 tech take. More insane than his Shipley's a slow white guy after a 60-yard run take, or my Thuney is a cuck take.
You're keeping score. Those are all good, Brian. Because
I don't think I said that about Shipley, Fleming. That's a shit take by you. That's not what I said.
Well, no, I don't think Zander said that. That was
I was saying what I think people think. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of, because there were a bunch of fans who said, the guy ran a 4.39 at the combine. You can look it up. 4.39 sub 4.4. So anyway, but Thuney's one of the best guards in football, has been for a long time. He had to play left tackle because the Chiefs couldn't find a left tackle. He did get cucked by Josh Sweat in the Super Bowl, but now he's in Chicago playing guard, and he's going to be improving their offensive line. I guarantee that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, JD's not a 3 technique. There's nothing wrong with it. Milton Williams in the nose tackle. That my only point is expecting him to be a 3 technique at the level of Milton Williams is just, that part of it's insane. Just like it would be insane.
Be a better all-around tackle.
Just like it would be insane to ask Milton Williams to be a nose tackle.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I don't know. Is it just me, or didn't the Jordan Davis comments, though, insinuate they want him to be more than just a nose tackle? Like, that's what he said. He's like, I realize now that my role is bigger than that. I'm being asked to do more things, to be more things, and that includes leadership. That includes off-the-field things. But I took that comment, and I'm like, okay, they don't want him to just be a nose tackle. They want him to be a more versatile defensive tackle all around.
Well, yeah, they want him, to be. And that's
doesn't mean he'll be a better 3 tech than Milton, but could he be a better all around tackle? I think he could.
I've seen no evidence of that, but we'll see.
We will see. We will see.
I mean, I would say, I would say I've seen no evidence of that.
Yeah,
but he's definitely, he got picked where he got picked because he's a very large man with rare athleticism for his size. So, but again, that's, I from day one, I literally said it day one, it's a very esoteric pick. I'm like, this guy's a nose tackle. And I think people are going to expect other things because he's the 13th pick. And they have. And he's
but aren't the Eagles expecting something else? Not just fans.
I don't think so. I just think they want him to be able to hold down a rotational role in a better form and push the pocket more, which I've constantly said. Him as a pass rusher bot is interior pressure pushing the pocket. Not, and Mike described it better than me, not being the technique monster, not being the spin move, not slipping guys, not swim moves, not that. He's just not built for that. And just like Milton's not built for taking on 2 blockers.
Yeah, right.
But as an undersized defensive tackle, Milton Williams is also a very good run defender. As an undersized defensive tackle, not compared to the monsters of the world like Vita Vea. For his role and what he's asked to do, he's very good at both. Which is why he got the contract he got.
We'll see. Brian Pumper checks in. He says, imagine a grown man analyzing another man's hip movement. What the fuck? Y'all were a month late. We some real freakazoid casuals in our
Pumper.
I don't think he's talking about us. I think he's talking about people on the chat. I think. I'm not sure.
Well, I think one person heard, oh, he doesn't flip his hips, and then it becomes a thing. They're not actually analyzing it.
I know. It's funny.
But yeah, I mean, that's the NFL draft. I mean, there's so many times where in the NFL draft, I'll look at a player like Ty Robinson. I looked at, on paper is a great athlete. I watched his film and I just, to me, it doesn't translate. And I got shit on for that. I got shit on by the fan base. I got shit on inside the building. He's a great athlete. I'm like, all right, I know that. But I don't see it on the field. I don't see it translate. And we'll see if I'm right or wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing that people hear something and they just say it and it becomes dogma because some random draft guy said, oh, he trouble flipping his hips. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see what ends up happening. I think Keely Ringer's got a good shot, but we'll see. Obviously, he's had an interesting first 2 days, the way it's been reported, but probably way overblown. It is training camp, and that's the first couple practices of the year. We'll see how it develops. Johnny Mac, great week of work, brother. Your first week back at the NovaCare Complex, a great week of shows. We will have the privilege of talking to each other 6 days a week because they're on the field tomorrow. So we'll talk a little bit on a football 24/7 after the fact. John, your final thoughts on this Football Friday edition of Birds 365?
Training camp, the grind is on. Yeah, it really picks up next week. What do we got?
Monday,
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, a lot of work to do. But
No
camp
doubt
is camp.
Yep, camp is camp. No doubt about it. Johnny Mac, great stuff, brother. Enjoy your weekend. I know I'll talk to you tomorrow, so I can tell you again tomorrow. But we'll catch up with you later on, brother. Good show today.
All right, thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, J Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Follow him on X at JF McMullen. And a great show today, a great week of shows as we are back, everybody. Camp is back. The Eagles are back. I love it. John and Jeff keep telling me how much of a grind it is. I get it. That's part of what we do. That's part of what we do. Embrace the grind, everybody. Life isn't fair or easy. Okay, I love it. I'm happy to be back. Good to see everybody in here. By the way, we've had a great crowd this week all throughout. All right, and camp's already ramping up. I thought the first day was quick, man. Like I was like, ooh, a lot of shit happening already in Philly. So it's going to be fun to follow it all year or all camp long, at least until we get up to the regular season. I'm actually interested in the preseason games this year because I think there's so many young players, especially on the defensive side, where I feel like there's going to be a lot more people playing in the preseason and a lot more things to learn from those preseason games. So I'm actually pretty excited about the preseason games coming up in a couple of weeks. I think the first one is, 2 Thursdays from now. So it might be just under 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to it. Dirty Air. They wouldn't last a minute. They wouldn't, Dirty Air. You're right. They wouldn't last a minute on the NASCAR schedule. Put us in the sun for 36 weeks. Yeah, that's no joke, Dirty Air. That's no joke. By the way, my brother and I have become NASCAR fans because of you. So thank you, bro. My brother's sending me YouTube videos all week. He's like, I'm a massive NASCAR guy. And then Dirty Air, I'm sure you're aware of this, but what's that company in the tech field? And they just announced a big car sponsorship. Let me look it up. My brother sent it to me. But they're in his world, right? Like they operate in his world. So he saw that and is like, I got to get on a car. Let me find it. He sent it to me somewhere. Where the heck is it? Well, first off, my brother's a big military guy. So the Secretary of the Navy announced that they're coming in 2026. They're going to Naval Base Coronado. That was the first thing he sent me. And then he sent me, where is this thing? He either texted it to me or sent it to me. Anduril, that's what it is. Oh, I love it, Dirty Air. That's great. That's great. Anduril, I guess. So he texted me, he said, and appears I was spot on. Anduril is executing on my idea. All right. My brother did survey, but my brother works in material science. He started a company in New York called Radical AI, and they do AI material science. And their goal is to make, contribute to basically sell to the Department of Defense, and my brother loves the military, loves it. I mean, he was a veteran. He's a veteran now. So he's all jacked up on it, and then when we got there, Abe, at NASCAR, the Space Force, which he loved, is on the car. Now Anduril's getting on the car. He's like, what the heck? I got to do it. So he's pushing. My brother's a grind. My brother's a smart dude, man. He's a great entrepreneur. He raised, I I think, the third or fourth highest seed round in New York City history. That's a big city, and that's a big business city. So that's a big statement. Yeah, he closed on $55 million raised this year. So different world he operates in, but an interesting one. Texas says Z needs to wrap his car in Kelly Green for the season. I don't think I can do that, dude. I don't think I can do that, Texas. I don't think I can do that. Sean says AI, the beginning of Armageddon. All right, Sean, let's see you stop it, my man. Some things are inevitable, brother. It's not to say they're all correct, but you're either gonna take advantage of the opportunity or sit there and cry about it. My brother is not the one to sit there and cry. Very smart, very sciencey and business brain at the same time. It's a pretty rare combo. Hey, I got it. I'm actually talking to them. I want them to sponsor JAKIB, the Skinny Joeys. Skinny Joeys, if you're listening, come on, man, let's do a deal. No, he's not in the public sector. No, he wants to get a contract with the Department of Defense. He was actually in DC this week. He was in DC this week and last week meeting with people down there. No, not in the public sector, but he's launched his own business. He launched his own business. So, all right, everybody. I'm not staying on long today. I got a bunch of shit to do before Celia. I'm used to yesterday. I had a bunch more time, but I appreciate it, man. It was a great week of shows. At least I thought it was. I thought we've had a great first week of training camp. Got a lot of information. Had a lot of great guests. By the way, all right. Well, here's one thing to talk. Who was in Cilio yesterday for Joy Taylor? I learned a lot about this chat yesterday. Who was in Cilio for Joy Taylor yesterday? Not yet, Fly Parks. Not yet. Hey, this chat was acting a fool. Zeal watched on tape. Did you watch the cutout interview, or did you rewatch it on the actual live show? Because if you rewatch it on the live show, you could see the chat. So if you see the replay of the chat, oh my God. I mean, holy moly. I never seen anything like it. It's like you guys have never laid eyes on a female before. Joy Taylor gets on the screen and everybody, oh. I'm like, oh my Lord. She was great though. Great interview. Great segment. Great takes. I thought she was awesome. I thought she did a really nice job. So she was gassing up Jalen Hurts, that's for sure. Shitting on the Cowboys. It was a good interview. Keep us posted on that when it happens. On what, bro? On what? Which one? Too many men on this channel, Xander. We got some women who are evening it out. Where's my girl, Kimberly? She's in here. There's Kimberly. We used to have Kirsten. I haven't seen Kirsten in a little bit. Izzy B is sometimes in here. Whereas Fly Eagles Fly is a lady. You got some ladies in here, but yeah. I think it's a little deeper than that, though. I think it's what Prince is saying. I think Prince is saying Sills is one of the best interviewers I've ever heard, Zeal. One of the best interviewers I've ever heard. I get a kick out of people who shit on Sills but don't actually listen to what, this job, there is an art to it. Brothers Company going public. Yeah, Fly, I tried to invest early. I said, can I give you like 10 G's in the infancy stage? If I did that, if they opened it up to family and friends, my 10 G's would already be worth fucking a lot. This is when he raised only the initial 10 mil. Now he's raised 55 mil. The valuation of the company's through the roof. Fly Parks. If there's one guy I would bet on, it'd be my brother. And I don't just say that because he's my brother. I promise you. My brother he's a bulldog. He is a fucking bulldog. He is. And you gotta be a little bit of a bulldog. No IPO. Not yet. I don't know if they would go that route or not. Maybe though at some point. Maybe at some point. We'll see. But yeah, Fly, that's a guy to bet on. I knew Secunda wouldn't like that. That's all right, Secunda. Silly, Chris Ames says, Cilio is an NFL football player, man, but Z, his take was done for last season. He's a clown. Not everybody's going to like him, Chris AM, but he's a real dude. There's a lot more to him than I think people think, because they see the bombastic nature of the way he does a show, which, by the way, is necessary in some regard. Everybody's going to have a different style of show, but there's not one way to do it, and certain ways work for other people. Guys, this is sports entertainment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the actual game, right? Like, there is some level of a need for entertainment. Cilio nails that. He nails that. And when he gets real and breaks down the game from a real perspective, or when he interviews somebody, you really see he is very talented at sports talk. There's zero doubt about that. There's no debate. I mean, I listen to a lot of sports talk. The cleats they were so cool, man. That was such a cool moment. Another testament, though, to Big Sills, Wolf Radau, because 99%, actually, I would say 100% of people who interviewed him in that moment wouldn't have gotten that out of him. Sills knows what he's doing, for sure. All right, everybody. I love all you guys. I'm getting out of here. Your bro's doing the right thing. Government contracts, bottomless pit. Kimberly says, don't go public, Z. My advice. Well, Kimberly, I hate to say this to you, but my brother's not the type of dude that would take advice from somebody who's not in the know. I mean, my brother is, he's going to take advice from the people up and where he wants to be. But it's a good space to be in. I'm proud of him. He's a great brother, more importantly than he is a good businessman or a smart dude. Great brother, great friend, been my best friend for a very long time. And I'm proud of that. I've never needed friends in life because I've had my brother. I have friends. They're more acquaintances than anything, but I never needed anything else outside of my brother. So I appreciate all you guys. I'll see you next time on Birds 365. Love all you guys. Enjoying camp kicking off. A lot more to go. Coming up next, we'll be live tomorrow. We'll have a show tomorrow, Saturday, and then National Football Show today, 2 to 6. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.